Very good afternoon once again, and welcome to iDreamCareer's webinar. Thank you so much for registering and taking out time and joining us today. I do hope all of you know. Okay. So I do hope you know what the session today is about. We have Ms. Rashi with us today. Of course, I'll introduce her shortly, but I quickly talk about what we would be covering today. So the session is titled "Passion into Purpose." Where we talk about crafting impactful projects for college admission. To give you a brief, everyone, to give you a brief, Rashi, we have few counselors joining us from our community itself, who will directly be interacting with students either at a personal level or at a school level. Of course, we do have parents and students also joining us from various parts. The points that we're going to be discussing today is, of course, understanding what are passion projects, discovering and aligning passion into impactful projects, how to design, implement, and showcase unique ideas, and of course, also to boost college application with these passion projects. And to discuss these points, we have with us, as you all can see, Ms. Rashi Ahuja Dixit. I'm just going to pin your video so that while you are speaking, everybody would be able to see you. To introduce Ms. Rashi, she is a senior career counselor at City Montessori School, Lucknow, and has over a decade of experience guiding students across multiple countries in making informed career choices. A scholar pursuing her doctorate in economics of education, she combines academic depth with practical expertise. She is a faculty chair for the Regional Forum for South and Central Asia and a member of the ICT Outreach Committee. She has played a pivotal role in global and regional initiatives, known for fostering collaboration among counselors in Lucknow. She campaigns accessible career counseling and inspires countless students to achieve their dreams. Thank you so much, Ms. Rashi, for joining us today. Just one request to all of those who have joined. We would love to do a Q&A maybe towards the end of the webinar. So Ms. Rashi can, of course, cover the points that she plans to in the first 40 to 45 minutes. And then the remaining 10-15 minutes, we love to keep the forum open and take up some questions. Thank you so much once again, everyone. Ms. Rashi, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Lalita, for that absolutely humbling introduction, I must say. And I'm so very grateful to iDreamCareer, Ayush, Meenu ma'am, and to you, the entire team, for giving me this opportunity, for giving me this platform to talk about something that I find very dear to my heart, that is helping students build a passion and give them a purpose, give them that project that really highlights their skills. I will very quickly jump into the topic. I was so happy to know that today we have with us parents, fellow counselors, students, and teachers alike. So I always like to begin my session with a bit of an introspection. So that's what I would like to do today. The first question I always ask is, who are we and how did we get here? Now, it is a rather simple question to answer if you look at it. You can say, well, I am so-and-so, and I got here in a car, but that's literally the simplest answer you can give. The answer that usually one should think about when we ask this would be, I am literally the sum total of every decision I have made in my life, and every decision I have made got me here. Why do I bring this up today? I bring this up because when we talk about passion, the most important and unique ingredient in that passion project, my dear students, is you. What do you want to do? What are you made up of? So this introspection is required before we move forward with our session. How did we get here? You see this image of wonderful shoes of different genders and different types and different sizes. Because while we have gotten here to where we are, we have walked in different pair of shoes. We have walked the shoes of a son or a daughter. We have walked in the shoes of a friend. We have walked in the shoes of an athlete. We have walked in the shoes of a mathlete. We have walked in the shoes of somebody who's played a nurse or a doctor to their brother, sister, and friends. So there are so many shoes that you have walked in to get here. As we move forward, I want to take this discussion even further into understanding what it is that you can bring to the table via the passion projects. There is no discussion that can be done on passion projects without the discussion of you and yourself. So here I would request Lalita ma'am to pose the poll question. What are passion projects? Let us see what you think is a passion project all about. Now, if you will see in these options that are being flashed in front of you, you can answer. Let's take this poll. When we think about passion projects, usually we feel it has to be very dedicated, it has to be very singular. We feel that it can only be related to one certain field and aspect. So that's why we have this question for all of you. Ma'am, have we allowed multiple answers?
Yes, yes. So the audiences can select multiple options.
Lovely. So I hope you all know you can choose multiple options. If you feel 2 or 3 of the options are correct, what a passion project should be, then you can mark them also. I see 7 of you have answered and participated. Lovely. Right. So maybe, ma'am, we can end the poll for now. Then we'll have some concrete answers as to where the audience stands.
Right. You want me to share the results?
Yes, please, ma'am. So you can see that most of us have thought or believed that community work is the passion project that almost everyone takes up, 8 out of 10. Research paper being a close second, followed up with having a startup, and hardly anyone has ticked teaching your siblings as a passion project. Well, all right, so let me break this news to all my audience members here. Every single option you see here is a passion project. And there is more to a passion project than we understand. It can be all encompassing of your daily activities, of your skills, of your interest in certain sports and music and community work also. Ma'am, maybe stop sharing the results. Right. So now let's go back to this presentation and see what is passion project. I always say that a passion project says where you lead yourself or others on a road less traveled. Why so? Because a passion project has to be unique. A passion project has to be having that very special ingredient, which is you, my dear students. When you're crafting a passion project, it should show that uniqueness that you want to bring out to the world. So always when thinking of a passion project or making a passion project very specifically for university admissions, never ever forget the unique element of you. Our topic for the day sounds as simple as it can be when we call it what it is. But let us dive further and understand what are the main aspects of it. Well, we just talked about a research project being a passion project. A research project can be a paper that you have written at the high school level, have it published in the high school journals, or it can be a research project that you have committed to starting in your school that can be taken forward by the students who come after you. A simple research project of availability of clean drinking water for the students of the school. So it doesn't have to be big. It can be a micro project being run in your school also. A book or a film, which also can be considered to be the original content that you're putting out into the world. Usually, the children tend to go for writing a book. There are wonderful programs with leading publishers like Scholastic and others that help you and mentor you in writing a book that can be published at an international level. Similarly, for short films, with YouTube as a platform, it seems like the simplest task to publish your self-made film on an open platform. A startup company, which is something most of us have heard about. There are students who are 14 years old, 16 years old, who have their own startup companies. India being the home of multiple unicorn startup companies, it is a culture that you will find a lot of knowledge, a lot of hand-holding for in different universities and incubator cells of IITs and other such colleges that have these startup incubator cells available even for the high school students. And last, and of course, our audience favorite, the community work, which seems like the simplest task to do. We, being a part of a developing country, see so many things around us that require that little bit of help that we as students can also provide. Making community work and startups around community works one of the most famous ones among students. So, like I said, there are many passion projects, and we have named 4 of them here for you. But here I would like to delve further into dividing the passion projects into 2 main categories. The first category being what you can do for yourself individually, which are the first 2, the research project, book and film, or maybe going forward and starting a club in your school, which is something that you have to find the initiative has not been. Similarly, when you do it for a group of students or a group of other individuals, along with the help of mentors, this will be a passion project that is for leading a group down a road less traveled, which is where the startup companies and sometimes the community work will also come in. And as I said at the bottom of my slide, and more, because there is no limit to what you can think up of as passion projects. Let's talk about the importance of profile building. Now, before I go forward, I like to start with this acronym of YA, the students' favorite words nowadays, and all parents and counselors will agree. Anything we tell them, yeah, ma'am, done. Yes, no, they have forgotten. Yeah. So we'll start with this acronym YA for all my students, making it easy for them to remember. Let's start with a small case study. Let's say there is a boy called Vikram, and he's very good at sports. He's actually, I would say, the best at which is the most popular one with my students nowadays. He's very, very good at, let's say, lawn tennis, and he loves playing it. He is the best I have seen at school. But what do you think he would do to make himself more visible to the people who value tennis as a sport? He might go and participate in a state level competition. He might go and participate in a national level competition. And what will it give him? It will give him visibility. It will give him the visibility required to rate the fact that he's good at a sport compared to other people who are also good at sport. Now think of the same student and imagine that he has to, in his school, doesn't have a lot of facilities, for the sports and specifically for lawn tennis. Maybe they don't have the equipment, maybe they don't have the right coach. So what he does is he takes an initiative in his school and decides that I want to maybe run a club for lawn tennis, where Saturday after school we can stay back for an hour and 2 and practice it. Or he can even think of coaching the younger students in his school via this lawn tennis club that he is starting. What is this going to do when he thinks of it? It is going to exhibit an initiative. It is going to show that he is forward thinking and he's bringing forth his skills in a way and in a groundbreaking way. He's presenting it to everybody. The third thing being, he now wants to show that he has amplified his skills. It is not just about lawn tennis, it is about everything related to lawn tennis. How can he show that? He can lead his school team into a club level competition and show that he also has the skills of coaching lawn tennis. Next being, let us think that they don't have the right equipment in the school. So what does he do? He goes forth and organizes a fundraiser in his school via a fete or a donation drive or maybe a walkathon or a marathon, being it's good winter times, So he can organize these kind of things and show that he has the right passion for it. So by doing 4 different activities related to his sport that he has been excelling at for a decent amount of time, he can show a growth. And that's how we get this acronym of YA. Why should he do these 4 things? Should he only do it if he's planning to go to a university that requires him to have very good profile? Well, yes, of course, that will definitely be the cherry on the cake, but that's not all. My dear students, when you have a skill and you explore the different aspects of that skill, these are the things you can show to the world, to the people around you. You can show in that the presence of that skill is 360 degrees in the admission and the recruitment processes that might follow what you are doing in class 12. You can show that you are not just about one single sport. You can show that you are having that creativity, the innovation, and the dedication to go forth and conquer what you have set out for. You can demonstrate all the teamwork, problem solving, and leadership abilities that might be inherent qualities or qualities that you can develop over a period of time, and show the people around you that you can be a team player, you can do the critical thinking, you can solve any situation or any problem that you face. You can showcase the commitment to your causes and interest and show that you will not be stopped because there was a hurdle that could be solved. So this is the importance of passion projects in profile building. We move forth and understand that's all good, ma'am. Very nice. I understand that passion projects are really important. But the question being, where do we start? What should be that starting point of our passion project? Well, it is as simple as the first line says, start from where you are. Because a passion project is nothing. It is nothing. It is just a way of showing from where you are to where you want to go. From where you are, let's take the case study of Vikram, where he was. He was a tennis player. Where he wanted to go, maybe to a good university admissions with the athletic scholarship. And how did he achieve that? Well, he achieved that by showing the right kind of profile building. How did he do that? By doing the various steps required to convert his passion into a passion project, right? A passion project should reflect your long-term goals. You can start from where you are, but the end point has to be where you want to go. And finding the commonality between these 2 things is what can make a successful project for all of you. You can ensure feasibility in the terms of time, resources, and skills by making sure that you do not overcommit your time. All right. If you are thinking of building a passion project, it is very important to remember that you are in high school. You are either in 9th or 10th or 11th or 12th. You will have certain number of hours per day that you have to commit to school. You will have certain number of hours per day that you have to commit to your self-study. You might have some amount of sleeping time. Maybe you're preparing for any entrance exam or a standardized test. And thereafter, you have to very carefully calculate the amount of time you can commit, the resources you can commit, and the skills required. For example, a person wanting to think of a passion project because they want to go for a computer science course that is very coding intensive and does not possess a language skill that is required for it. Let's say they want to make a project based on Raspberry Pi, but they do not understand the basics of it. So that would be a very long-term project for them. So also assess your skills before you start off on a project. I would like to further elaborate on these points by talking about how important it is to align your interest and passions. We have all seen that Ikigai graph where it talks about your interest, your passion, what the world wants, what the world is willing to pay for. And just as that, when you are starting your passion project or thinking about where you should start investing your time for this kind of a project, remember that your interest and passions will have a common ground, and it's very important to locate it before you start your project. think of your long-term goals and align that project with your future career or course. If you're planning to go for, let us say, a course in sustainability engineering, and there is a chance for you to go and join the school council, think of a post like an environmental coordinator, because that will give you a lot of opportunities to do the activities required that can help you in your future course. Think about the feasibility and calculate the time to the last minute before you commit yourself. Because always remember, if you miss out on your studies for your passion project, there is no admission counselor who will be willing to hear that and pay heed to that, because both have very important place in the admission process. One cannot replace the other. One can compensate for the other, but not replace the other. So always remember to calculate your time and availability. Let's talk about the essential steps that are required in designing a project. Once you know where you wish to start, once you know which is that portion of your personality that can become a passion project for you, you have identified it. Next, we talk about the essential steps. Identifying the passion and goal being the first one. The second being conduct thorough research. I cannot lay enough stress on this point. How do we conduct a research? Well, it has to be, the theme has to be really strong. The theme that you're thinking of going forward with your project has to be very future aligned. It has to do with something that's very relevant in the day and time that we are living. And finding all of that can take a lot of your time. So how can we make it swifter? How can we make it faster? Well, we have a wonderful tool on our hands by the name of ChatGPT. You can find these prompts online that go in and ask ChatGPT to ask you 10 questions that can help you identify your passions. And you can put this prompt in and it gives you 10 questions and it slowly analyzes what should be your passion, what can be your passion, and gives you a couple of options. Although please use it with a lot of discretion, with adults' supervision, because it might give you one answer or a broad answer and you can pick and choose from it, right? After doing this research, there are a lot of courses and tools that are available to learn the basic skills required to start a passion project. There's a student in my school who, while in class 9th, decided that they wanted to have their own startup or an e-commerce business selling stationery in a door-to-door way. This was, I think, a year before Instamart became very famous. So, of course, I don't know much about e-commerce business or having this kind of a startup. So, of course, I could guide them less. But one thing I found while searching up resources for them was that even Coursera, at the rate of rupees 450, offers basic courses on how to build a startup. It offers like basic courses on how to start your e-commerce business, and it is valid information. Of course, the free information is available in the form of videos on YouTube, but this is a very concise way of getting the exact information you need. And I feel as students, you can really cut through a lot of the noise that is available on YouTube if you go for these targeted courses. This will help you in not just doing the research, but building the basic skills. The third thing being plan your timeline and resources. When I talk about timelines, again, you're in class 11th, you're in class 12th, you have your boards, you have your A levels, you have your, I would say, preparations, you have your extra classes, and you have your college applications. And at the same time, you're thinking of designing a project. Well, start with something simple, start with something easy. If you have a lot of time in your hand, you're finding your course, whatever you're studying at school, is relatively easy for you. Go for something time intensive. It will definitely work out in your favor if you have more time in your hand. If you're starting in class 9th and 10th, that's absolutely the ideal time to start, because you will have a lot of time to think, to plan, to learn from your errors and build something better as you go along. Remember one thing, here time is of the essence, so calculate it well. Don't start something very big to write in your applications too close to the applications. You're in class 12, 1st August, the US applications open, and you're starting the project, let's say on 1st of July. Well, the admission counselor knows that there is a reason you're doing it so close to the date, because you want to write something. It's fine, everybody does it, but then make sure that you're not making it something too intensive or too extensive that drains your time and resources. Next, be executive while staying executed while staying flexible. Make sure that you are going to have a very steep learning curve. There are going to be so many things that you're going to learn from the mentors and the adults that you're going to be interacting with in this journey. There is so much you can learn, and you will have to keep switching your plan. You will have to keep switching and altering your understanding and your goals of what you want to achieve. But staying flexible does not mean losing sight of the goal. It just means taking an easier path, taking a better path. Even we, when using Google Maps, see there is an alternate route that is 2 minutes lesser and 2 minutes more efficient in getting to the place. Don't we take it? We all do. So that's what I mean when I say execute while staying flexible. There are going to be exams. There are going to be hurdles of finances. There is going to be a hurdle of time. There is going to be a hurdle of permissions from your teachers, from your elders, from your parents. But you can stay flexible and come back to your goals again and again. Remember to evaluate and reflect on your outcomes, what you are planning to achieve, how far you have gotten. Make sure that you are maintaining a record of it in the form of a Google sheet that you can go back to, that what you wish to achieve with your project in 1 month or 2 months or 6 months, and have you been able to do so. Present the results to a wider audience. Well, let us say that you are doing God's work. You are teaching 60 students every Sunday, teaching them the basics of computing as a part of your passion project. But dear child, if we are not presenting the results to a wider audience, it will always be something that will not get you the right kind of exposure that you are looking for. Right? So when I talk about presenting results to a wider audience, I'll tell you how to go about it in the coming slides. Let's move to the next one. How to showcase your projects for the applications. If you are thinking of doing these activities for the purpose of presenting it on the applications, first we have to understand why we should present it in our applications. When you showcase your passion project in the applications, you show to the admission counselor that I have not just been a student. Well, I have also been able to develop skills, soft skills that were not a part of my curriculum. I have developed leadership. Take the example of Vikram, where he was not just coaching, but leading a team into the club level finals or the state level competitions. Talk about communication, because having a passion project will make you speak to people at different levels and different ages and build on your communication skills. As it is said, communication is a two-way street. You have to learn to understand what the person in front of you is saying, just as much they should understand what you are saying. It's a skill that can develop with practice. Passion projects give you a chance for developing your communication skills, including your email skills. I have seen my students learn how to write formal emails like there is no tomorrow after they have undertaken a passion project. And trust me, it is a skill that is much needed in today's day and age. They will learn about critical thinking, and you can show it via your passion project how you develop this critical thinking and problem solving. You can show how you have grown from the time maybe before you had that project that you were working on and after, how you built your responsibility, how you built your resilience, how you became more adaptable to different situations after learning the skills that were required to work on your project. The third being creating a real world impact of maybe providing a community service or an innovative solution, how you have changed the world for the better. Always remember, why are most of the universities looking for all of this in you when they are calling you to be educated on a specific course? They are calling you to give you your bachelor's degree at the end of 4 years. Why do they want all this? Most of the universities that you are planning to apply to that are looking for these kind of applications maybe have four or six lectures in a week. They'll have some additional classes, but yes, they only have 4 or 6 lectures in a week, which means you as student body in that university will have a lot of free time, and they want to see how do you use your free time. By giving them this understanding of your personality through the passion projects that you are pursuing, you are telling them that you are going to be using your free time in a very positive manner because you have the habit of doing so since long, showing them that you are thinking of making your peer group and your environment and the society around you into a very better model of how you found it. How can we showcase the project for the applications is the next part. We can use storytelling to convey inspiration and impact. You can talk about, like I took the case study of Vikram, and I took the storytelling aspect to show 4 different parts of his passion project. Similarly, you can talk about it in any form of story, maybe a suspense or a mysterious story, and take that passion project into a 5-minute elevator pitch that can really drive change into the person you are speaking to. You can highlight the measurable outcomes and skills gained. This is something that most of our students are not practically taught in school. But again, this is a skill that is the 5-minute elevator pitch that is required. And think about it. When I say that I taught 10 students for 6 hours this week during my summer vacations, or I can say that I delivered 60 man hours of impactful, life-changing education to underprivileged children who required it. Doesn't the second one sound more impactful? Doesn't it have a deeper and a more ingrained meaning if you are reading it as an admissions counselor? The same goes for talking about your passion projects when you're writing your application essays. You can incorporate visuals like charts, images, and videos. For this, always remember to document the work that you are doing for your project. And last being using the appropriate platform for journaling. Now, journaling is not about writing in your diary and closing it and keeping it away. There are different journaling platforms that are available for the projects that you undertake. If you're going for a coding related passion project where you are going for capture the flag competitions run by Google, you're writing lines upon lines of code, wonderful. Your journaling platform would be GitHub, GitHub, where much like a Facebook page, you have a page and you can publish the different activities that you have done related to coding. You are a researcher writing multiple research pages, there are similar websites that you can go for and you can publish your work there. And other researchers also can find you and connect with you. You are working on, let us say, by the way, that site is called ResearchGate. And let us say now you are working on a social impact project. Most will think Instagram is the way to go about journaling. Well, there is a better one, LinkedIn, where you can connect with representatives of different NGOs and organizations and international organizations, and they can also participate or collaborate with you in your community building activities. How do we present the projects for the applications? Of course, all the work you have done in building a project, it just needs to be just as interesting when you're presenting it to the applicant for your applications and interviews. For your applications, when you're writing your essays, the achievement section on the Common App, the extracurricular activity section, talk about your projects in every where you feel that it can be the right fit. There are certain essays for the Singapore universities and for the US universities that can be a perfect fit. The topics are just designed for you to talk about your project. And using it to talk about the three aspects that we spoke about in the last slide, the impact, the figures, the storytelling, it can make it for a compelling essay that really gets your application through. Highlight the impact factor. Just like I told you about the 60 man hours, similarly, find that impact factor. Don't just talk about the work you did, but also talk about the impact it had on the people you were working for. Incorporate different journals and visuals when you are talking about your work in your applications. Having a journal like a LinkedIn or a GitHub or a ResearchGate also helps you to go back and remember on which date you did what, making it easy for you to present that timeline or the story that you're trying to tell in your essays. When we are talking about interviews, many of the universities also have an interview portion where they can ask you to talk about your projects. If they see it in your application, they'll definitely ask you to highlight it. So practice articulating your project experiences passionately. And here the key word is passionately. If you have worked for it, you will really know the nitty-gritties of it. You will really know how to go about bringing those nuances that were so typical to your project that almost nobody else can talk about. Focus on your learning processes and the future alignment. The project does not have to be a completely successful one. If a student thinks about having a project that I want to eradicate the digital illiteracy of the menial staff in my school, it is not something they could have achieved at the end of 1 year if they started that project. So it does not have to be something that you completely solved or completely achieved. It can be a journey that you talk about, your learning process, and how you're planning to continue doing the same in the future. You can discuss the challenges you faced and the problem solving strategies. It will not make you sound weak. It will actually make you sound more human, stronger, a human that's willing to learn from their mistakes and go on and become better. And last but not the least, however you present your projects, always be original. You should never plagiarize somebody else's projects. You should never copy somebody's, anybody's project that you're seeing on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Take inspiration, but bring your own unique element, the ingredient of you. Some key factors for success to remember would be the clarity of purpose. Before you start up, always remember, define your goals. What is their significance? One of the easiest way to define a goal for a community work project would be look at the list of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, given by UNICEF, and see which is the one that you most closely align with or your project most closely aligns with, because it gives you step by step as to what needs to be achieved to make sure that your goals are something that you're working towards. Make sure that whatever project you're presenting, it should be tailored to the beneficiary's needs. In the sense, if you're working towards elevating the poverty of the people or a slum around you, you should always be working towards those beneficiaries. Remember, each step of your project should be aligned with your goals and your beneficiaries' needs. And in the third step, he took his team for a club match. So impact assessment, did he win? Did he not win? Let's say he did not win. So he will sit and do an impact assessment. Okay, we did not win. I need to work on so. The equipment was not good. So I need to do a fundraiser to get the right equipment. So what is that? That is impact assessment. Understanding in every single step how close or far you are from your goals, and tailoring it, making it better, reviewing it, are all part of that road to success. Always try to find team members that are like-minded, that are willing to work as a team with you. At times, we feel that just because we are starting a project, we should take in all our friends. You also come, you also come, you are my best friend, you're automatically the financial manager, you are my other best friend, you are the social manager. Well, it works fine if those are finding them. Additionally, find mentors, your teachers who have run certain projects, your elder brothers and sisters, your seniors at school, they can all be great mentors for you. It's only a matter of asking them the right questions. Let's take this forward and talk about some of the samples. I know that we are cutting it close, Lalita, so I will quickly run through them. So one of the few of the case studies that I have presented here would be that, let us say that you want to go for a STEM course. So having a STEM project like a solar powered water purifier that you can launch out and present to the world, have it, let us say, patented, and make it a project that not just you, maybe even the government is willing to invest in, can be a wonderful STEM project startup. A good example of a social impact project is what I was talking about, Teach Tech. It is something some of my students are also running, where they are talking about digital literacy and providing the right kind of education to the menial staff, to the small children, to make more informed decisions. Another kind of case study would be entrepreneurship project, where somebody who is very interested and is good at fashion design can launch a sustainable fashion line. Or as we saw during the time of COVID, many of the teenagers launched their sustainable masks that were made out of breathable cotton, and their companies really took off. Another case study example where you want to talk about and do a research project, but you want to go for a course in psychology at the end of class 12, you can conduct an attention span study of your classmates to see what kind of attention spans they have, whether they improve if they have not used the phone, or whether it improves if they have done 5 minutes of meditation. Another example would be a creative arts project where the mental health awareness campaign can be run in a school, in a society, or at a state or a city level, by asking them to make dioramas and presenting it, and taking these dioramas, the winning ones, across the cities or the state school, and showing how the students are working towards creating that awareness. As we draw a close to our session, I want you to think about and remember that passion projects are always the culmination of your three very important things. The first being your values. Your value system is very visible when you undertake a project. So always remember to inculcate your values when you're thinking of a project, because your project makes you really transparent. Your passion project choices make you really transparent in the eyes of the admission officers, in the eyes of your peers and your elders. So choose something that really showcases your value. Think of your goals. Where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? And remember, that is the destination, and passion project can be that bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to go. And the third being the motivation. What's your motivation for doing this project? Yes, of course, admissions being there. But remember, if while you're at it, you're able to do something good for the world, you're able to learn a new skill, you're able to build on your skills, you're able to benefit the people around you, it's a win-win situation for all. Lastly, believe in yourself. And something I always tell my students is, don't forget the main goal. The main goal being that your education is just as important as the passion project. As they say in English, you can't see the forest for the trees, then you are in trouble, because both are just as important, your passion project and your academics. If you can run them on a parallel track, it is a great situation to be in. So now, thank you for listening to me talk to you all about something I really enjoy. Passion projects are my passion, and I have been helping students craft and achieve the best of the best for the last 10 plus years. And I'm sharing a little bit of my knowledge with everybody. And this is a small QR code. There are a lot of free resources. The 6 case studies that I talked about, they are discussed at length, along with certain guidelines as to how to do the timeline planning, what kind of emails to write when you want to talk to somebody in a position of power, and a lot of other stuff that you can take away from there. So yes, Lalita, that's it from me. I would love to hear any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think that was truly informative. We would now keep the forum open to address any questions from the audience. Yes, Ankit, please go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Ankit. My question to the speaker is, so I just wanted to know her opinion. Like she talks very well about the passion with the project, and I am listening to her. Though I joined 10 to 15 minutes late, but still I didn't miss. So I just wanted to know what, according to her, is most important. Is it purpose or is it passion?
Like I said, I cannot say one is more important than the other, Ankit. I'll tell you why. Because when you talk about purpose, I know many students who have a very defined purpose in life, that they want to study physics, chemistry, maths because they want to become engineers. But I for a fact know that it is not their passion, right? So, but when I add that special ingredient of passion to that purpose, that is the magic ingredient. Look around you and see the people who excel at a sport. Do they only have a purpose, or do they also have passion with it? Think of the top industrialists that you see. Do they only have purpose of earning money, or do they also have passion of, let us say, the few Indian ones that we have that want to do good via their organizations, or they have a passion of becoming the best in the world? So it's not just about the purpose. The passion is that magic ingredient, that fairy dust that needs to be added to the purpose to make it grand.
Thank you so much for this answer. May I ask you one last question? Actually, with the curiosity, I just wanted to. This is specifically about the engineering aspirants, because you might have come to the regularly meeting the students who does not have clarity, so they will talk about only two or three particular streams in engineering, and that too nowadays. Earlier it was like IT or computer science. Now it is like artificial intelligence is on the top. While when you ask, are you aware about that, what you exactly need to do being an AI engineer, and how much coding to be required once you enter into the corporate? So how you tackle such kind of questions, and how you convince those kind of students who came with the very less limited knowledge actually?
So I know for a fact that the children are choosing these things because of, not, I would say, not lack of knowledge, but I would say a lack of exposure, because they've heard these two terms initially, and the two new terms, AI, blockchain, all of that. So they repeat that. So our job can be as counselors to give them information, or rather than information, give them the right direction to go and look for that. A great resource. Ankit, if I may ask, are you a student or a counselor?
So I am a passionate counselor, I would say. However, I am presently working with Vijayabhumi University, and currently I am in Lucknow only.
Right. So one thing would be, Ankit, would be to make sure that you can have some resource available in your office and give it to the students, because one thing they need is the right direction. That always helps. They have heard two words, they repeat it, give them two more to think about for the day, ask them to come tomorrow, let's discuss further.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs.
Thank you.
And the session is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you so much.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, may I?
Sure, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Rashi, for such a wonderful session. It brought in so many things to think about. When it is structured, then you tend to think about it more and relate to it also. So, here, my question was, at times it so happens that the children are into something, maybe not in a structured way. Like if I go for an art student, somebody might be doing a lot of art and this thing, but there might not be any certification as such, or no participation as such. So a portfolio or something would work in such a scenario. Uh,
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, when we talk about passion projects, I talk about the big five. I talk about achievement, I talk about certification, I talk about merit, I talk about projects, and then last I say community work. So, if you don't have
yeah,
certificate, you don't have achievement, you don't have merit, no problem. There are two very huge sections that you can cover, which is community work and which is
yeah,
having your passion project. And neither of those require any certification from anybody.
right.
So,
Yeah,
you can, like I said, it's one thing to know a skill and it's absolutely another to be able to teach it. So maybe having a community work project around teaching the skill that the student is very good at shows a lot
yeah,
of initiative on their path. And it's not just about going and teaching the underprivileged children. It can be
yeah,
teaching skill, like I said, to the menial staff, to your juniors, and
yeah,
maybe to your own sibling. If you're mentoring your sibling for a university level education in the future, that too is a passion project you can quote in the university applications.
right, right. And especially I don't want to, like, I had one student who was into designing, lot of artwork the child did, lot of calligraphy, lot of painting, sketching, though did not participate at certain level, So if the such a child is going for some designing this thing, then also they can just portray their work, maybe in the form of essay or this thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And secondly, for a college student also, like somebody who's going for higher studies, the college student has done under the mentorship of somebody, they have done certain projects or research papers, yes. But certain projects which they have done at, they have first year, they have some social project or something. So that also can be reflected through this thing for,
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. There is no day and age for it. Yes, I talk about admissions because that's the kind of crowd we have
yeah.
today. And I really wanted to be very focused for them. But a
Mm,
passion project is something that you can undertake for any level of, personal development and your professional development. It is something that
yeah,
can go on for a period of 20, 30 years also before it culminates into a fruitful project. And I have
yeah,
seen
yeah,
so many of the people around me do that. I have seen wives of IAS who for 30 years were traveling across India and learning the skill of bonsai. And the minute their
yeah,
husbands retired, they started their bonsai foundation, and it was the bomb. It was the best thing I saw ever. And I was like, where
yeah,
were you hiding? They said we were learning it for 30 years.
right, right.
So it can be anything and it can take any amount of time. So, but here, of course, with the audience we had, I talked about the admissions, but
Yeah,
passion projects
yeah,
can be anything you deem them to be. This was a very small, very like a cut to cut version that I presented here, but it can
yeah.
definitely take on a bigger, larger, and more longitudinal scope if you wish for it.
But I need children at, since you said ninth and 10th is the right age, I think they need a lot of exposure to it. We don't talk about it in generally in
Yes.
schools.
Yes.
And
But
then by
yeah,
the time the child in 12th decides to go for it, you think
yeah.
it's, oh, maybe
But then
they're late.
the best thing is that may have your success stories of passion projects of 12th, like sing praises about them like there is no tomorrow in your assemblies. You will have 10 children talking about these two words, profile building, and coming to you, ma'am, what is this? Ma'am, I want to do this. And that really works out well for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anamika, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Any other questions that we can take up? If we check the chat box as well.
Oh, yes, I just saw that. Right. Right. We have one from Isha Moria. Ma'am wanted to ask what to do if your idea is out there already, then if you go with it or think or other, because in my case, every idea I had is out and already working. Well, Isha, that's the case for all of us. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel, as they say. You just have to bring out your own element in it. Let us say you're thinking about talking and teaching the community, and so many are doing it across your city and your locality. But what's the unique element that you can bring? If you're planning to go for a computer science course, install a small, like a desktop or a second-hand desktop, and teach these little kids like half hour every day how to use the basics of computers or a Word and Excel. So you are teaching them, but you're teaching them the skills of computer literacy and digital literacy that are going to help them. So that's the unique element of you, right? Let us say you want to teach the kids, but you're good at music. Don't teach them ABCD. Enough people are teaching them. Teach them Sare Gama Pa. They will be ever grateful that you gave them the gift of knowledge of music. They will remember you fondly all their life. So it's not about having an original idea. There is nothing new under the sun. We are all plagiarizing from each other, and we call it inspiration. So let's be inspired and inspire others smartly by bringing that unique ingredient of you in it. Yes, the session, okay, we have with a lot of hidden insights. Glad to know your thoughts, Rashi ma'am. Thank you so much, Mansi ma'am. So kind of you. Thank you for the session. It was lovely. Thank you so much, Shilpa ma'am. Thank you, Ankit sir. Oh, we have lots of praise. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
We
Right.
just have one question that has come up
Yes.
from Rupali
Yeah.
on how do you work with students on shortlisting universities and finding the right fit for them?
Ma'am, how many hours do we have, Lalita ma'am? Please tell me.
We can surely take up this question. No, not problem at all.
Yes. Like you said, the two most important words here are right fit. And when we talk about right fit, what is right for one is never right for the other. So one very important thing I tell the students is, first of all, find your list of universities. There is a feature on Google Map where you can pin them all. Pin those universities, 20, 30, whatever. And after you pin them, first thing I want you to see is the weather. Because I know my Indian students that much that they cannot adapt to all weathers all the time, right? The cold are extreme cold in certain parts of Canada and certain parts of US. The rains are extreme in certain parts of Australia. So I always tell them, first pin these universities and see the weather. Because one thing that you can never adapt to very quickly, it takes you at least your body a year to adapt to the weather changes, is that. And ask yourself honestly, can you handle the minus 20 degrees centigrade? Can you handle that? If yes, put it in your final list. Next, I ask them to go and read up on those universities, not just by some information website, but on the international student portal of that website. Thirdly, I always ask my students, the thoughts in your mind will always get jumbled. Whether you start 6 months before the application date or 1 month before or a year before, they will all get jumbled when it comes to writing your application, finalizing your universities. Maintain a Google Sheet. There is no alternative to that. You have to do that. And why I say a Google Sheet? Because you can keep adding and subtracting information from your phone, from your desktop, from your laptop, and all your information will be safe. When it comes to deciding on the universities, you can go back on your notes and decide on it. So yeah, that's my 2 bits on it. But yes, there is a lot more that goes into it. That's why you have those counselors in your school and you have platforms like IDC to help you through that. Yes, ma'am. Do we have more questions?
One last question, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Hi, Rashi. This is Parmita. Right. So I do a lot of things that you have been talking about. So just since you come from a school background, so for the passion project, like I do handle students from different schools, different backgrounds, right? How how open are schools to helping students if I am looking at students spending their school hours to do the passion project? In case I need to look at a biology related project for a 11th grader, I have the idea, will the school be supportive enough to help with maybe some of the lab hours or making use of some facility around in the school?
Right. So, Paramita, there is a slightly, I would feel, not a very simple answer for this, because when I speak anything, I just speak for the campus I'm on and not even any other campus of the school where I am. First thing. Second thing, when I speak, I can't even speak for all the teachers, because each teacher is an individual unto themselves, right? But
Right.
I know for a fact that if a student has shown uh, a decent amount of research and insight into the work they are undertaking, almost every single school would not mind helping them out.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
But a
So
lot of it depends on the personal relations that the child or the parent has developed with the school community. A lot of it depends on that.
Absolutely. So I actually did a STEM project back in 2019 with one of the students from DPS Hyderabad, Secunderabad. Yeah.
Right.
And his STEM project got the, Young Scientist Award, and the government of, Telangana has taken his app. So he designed an app wherein, all farmers can use that app to sow what kind of plants and, when to irrigate their land.
Lovely,
Yes, and
lovely.
he did it in collaboration with his computer teacher at school. He started
Right.
this project during his 9th grade, and he got the award when he was in 11th.
Wow. That's
So yeah, so like I do see a lot of schools do collaborate, but again, it depends on a lot. What is your personal relationship with the
yes,
teacher, and how do you
absolutely.
think things.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Yes.
Great insight, Rashi. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Parmita ma'am. Yes, so do we have any more questions, Lalita?
Oh, none that has come to me, but
Right.
many messages for you about the session. Thank you. I think truly it was insightful. As you shared, even about the weather, I think, these are things probably we end up missing during the process.
Yes.
So thank you so much for adding in such great inputs. And I'm sure the counselors, the parents, students, teachers attending this must have found great information in this 1 hour webinar. And of course, we will be putting this up on our YouTube channel as well for you to view at a later stage. Thank you once again, Ms. Rashi. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us, and we wish you a great, great weekend, a very Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Lalita.
Lalita.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you
for
so much.
attending. Please take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.